Assalamu alaikum. I'm gonna show you the books that I've been reading today. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath, still sick. Hi, cat. Okay, the first that I want to get into, I'll get into the good ones first, okay? So I have 4 books here that I've gotten from the library. First is Malcolm X, a biography. This is a book that should really be read by every Muslim, I think, because he is one of the quintessential figures in America for converts. I believe, he's like one of the most well known. Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. I can't think of anything else right now, but that's just my brain. But I'm sure there are more. But yeah, those two come to mind. The most. Anyway, it's really great. This particular one is as you can see, very thin. It's like an annotated version, not annotated, abbreviated version. I am gonna read a long form version too, but this version, the Greenwood version, who's made this one? Greenwood, thank you. The Greenwood version is really small and short and really compact and really great for just like getting a brief overview of everything. In depth in some things that are more important and kind of skimming over the things that you're like, why am I reading this part of this person's life? But it's got 2 timelines and it's really great. I really like it. I'm going to read more, another biography. Does he have an autobiography? I might read that if he has one. A second book that I'm reading is Islam in America, Building a Future Without Prejudice by Anwar Majid. This book I'm also really liking because it puts historical context into like the animosity that's like going on between now and then. Like this right up into this sentence: if Americans set out to change the world in their own image and trampled over the natives' rights, they also left a lasting legacy behind that strengthened Muslims and Arabs. And if Islam appears as a threat to America and a nefarious influence on the people of Muslim majority nations, Americans need to know that without Islam, neither America nor the West would exist in the shape they do now. Through centuries of peaceful and violent contact, neither side can make a claim of cultural purity. Anyone reading this book has been shaped in various measures by both Islam and America. Understanding this may help temper our chauvinism and reach out to one another more confidently. I just haven't opened to that. That's in chapter 3, the end of chapter 3. And I think I kind of think that's the end of the book, honestly. I haven't finished reading it, but it does go through, like why, America's history and how that shapes how we view the world, obviously, and how it shapes how you view Islam and Muslim nations. And it ends talking about Thomas Jefferson and how we could learn from him. So there's a lot of American history in this book, but it also intertwines it with world history and basically says, hey, look, Americans, you're from a Puritan culture, like, originally, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. So you gotta look at your history and look at why you're the ones who are not really helping the situation either, because you don't understand this, and that makes you scared because it doesn't align with your puritanical, not puritanical, your Puritan ethics. Because the United States is very much a Puritan country, still based on Puritan ethics and morals. We like to pretend we're not, but we are. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really enjoying it so far. That's all I got to say about that. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm very excited to. By number one best-selling author of Common Sense, not Thomas Paine's Common Sense, but Glenn Beck's Common Sense. I've read Thomas Paine's Common Sense, have not read Glenn Beck's Common Sense. Not sure the difference is, I'm sure it's a large one. Anyway, part of the Control series, it is about Islam, exposing the truth about ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Iran, and the Caliphate. I can't wait to read this. I've heard a lot about it. It always comes up in my Amazon search thing. It's called the No Nonsense Handbook that educates and informs while debunking mainstream lies about the religion and its followers. From the barbarians of ISIS to the Iranian government's sophisticated operators to the civilization jihadists of the Muslim Brotherhood, these motivated by extreme fundamentalist Islamic faith have demonstrated their willingness to kill millions and terrify the world with their brutality. None of this will change until we all stop lying to ourselves and accept that these acts and beliefs are rooted in the religion of Islam itself. Using the unique no-hold-barred style from his best-selling books, Control and Conform, Glenn Beck offers straight facts and history about the fundamental beliefs that inspire so many to hate, terrorize, and kill. He's written a lot of books. He's even written fiction books, children's picture books. What? He's written children's books? This man has written children's books. Glenn Beck. I'm going to read it soon after I'm done this book here. Oh, how do I describe what is going on in this book even? I'd be at lesson 5. Compromise weakens the church. I mean, they're there at lesson 6, which is things are not what they appear to be. I'm on one of these. I have to go through and actually look. But I am reading Erwin W. Lutzer and Steve Miller's The Cross in the Shadow of the Crescent. Ooh. The bottom is covered. What does it say? Oh, it doesn't say. But it's something in response to Islam's war with Christianity. Anyway, this book is ridiculous. If you want a funny read, this book is it. I can't even describe what this book is like. So basically it's saying part 1 is about how Islam is invading. Part 2, which is the part that I am in, is 7 lessons for today's churches. So it has 7 lessons. And then part 3, one is faithfulness to Christ requires an acceptance of persecution. Part 3 is a right response. So what the church should be doing, and then a final prayer or a final plea to the church, not to stand alone. And so it's talking to churchgoers about how Islam is trying to overtake Christianity. That's why the cross is in the shadow of the crescent, the moon. Supposedly Muslims hate the cross. I don't know. That's what they say. In there's testimonies of faith. There's testimonies from ex-Muslims, testimonies of faith and to Christianity, and there's some interesting what do I say? They talk about the Crusades a little bit, and it's really interesting the way they talk about it in. Because they kind of put it in a praiseworthy light, but then at the same time they're like, we're not saying it's good, but at the same time, it was good because, Islam and the Muslims were doing, and, it was just a response, kind of kind of type deal going on there. So that was kind of interesting to me. I just, knowing what type of church this is probably for, they're probably like an IHOP, Pentecostal, Episcopalian, not Episcopalian. Episcopalians probably would read this. Pentecostal, evangelical type church. This is who this is aimed at, is people who go to those types of churches. I highly recommend reading it. I mean, in the Glenn Beck one, because you always want to know what the people around you with Islam, you want to know what the churches and what people may think the worst, and you need to be able to defend yourself against those misbeliefs and misguided thoughts. And that's what's in here. Misbeliefs, misguided thoughts. And looking at it, I can say and laugh at it and be like, I know that's not true. That's not my Islam. You know, I don't know where they got that from. I never even heard that in Christianity. So, there's not much to say on this book other than please read it. The Cross and the Shadow of the Crescent by Erwin W. Lutzer with Steve Miller. So these are these are the 4 books that I've been reading. These are the 4 books that I've been reading / am going to read. Definitely recommend all of them, even though I haven't read one of them and I'm in the middle of reading one of them. Give them a shot. Remember, you always want to read what the enemy has to say, and I consider Glenn Beck an enemy to everyone, not just to Muslims, but to just the humanity in general. So you always want to read things that oppose your views, and they're gonna help your faith by they're either gonna tear your faith down, showing that you weren't that faithful to begin with, or they're gonna build your faith up and make your faith stronger. And that's what we're looking for, is to make our faith stronger by reading these books and going, I know that's not true. And finding evidence and saying, I know that's not true because it says here, in Surah Bukhara, in Surah Yasin, in Surah Maryam, this is this. In the story of Musa, it says this. What does that have to do with what's going on in here? Nothing. That's the wrong story. You're giving the wrong story, and you're giving the wrong impression. You're telling the story Musa wrong from the Islamic side, and you're telling it wrong from the Christian side, to make the two as different as possible. But that's not how it is. They're the same story. So you always want to read literature that's going to be provocative in that way. But that's so that you can learn and understand other people's points of views, and that's a good thing. And even though I really disagree with what the book I'm reading now says, it's really interesting to read, and it might be helpful because I might run into people who think like this one day, and I'll be like, no, that's not true at all. Like, I would never destroy a cross. Like, what? That's crazy. Anyway, yeah. Make sure you read, know your historical figures, like Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Malcolm X. Know the history. No history. I just have like 2. Like, I have a biography and I have kind of a semi-historical piece. And then make sure you're reading the provocative literature that goes against your views. and is going to show Islam in a bad light. Because Islam is about seeking knowledge. And so that's what you have to do, is you have to seek knowledge not just in Islam, but in worldly things and things that you don't believe in and things that you just have to seek knowledge wherever it can be found. And if knowledge is going to be in this book and it's going to teach me more about Islam, then I need to read this book. Because it'll strengthen me and it'll help me learn about Islam and it will give me knowledge. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.